All right, I'm on hole number 3 of the Fuji Open. Let's go to Golf Clash Notebook and check out hole number 3. And yes, it doesn't matter if I'm playing and I'm recording or I'm playing and I'm not recording. I always come and look at Golf Clash Notebook, and I always familiarize myself with the hole, just to remind myself what it looks like. That way, when you go set your bag up, you're ready for it. Sometimes you'll get on a hole and go, oh, I thought it was the other hole. So on here, I'm going to take an extra mile and a Titan. And I'm still kind of undecided on the second shot here. There's a bunch of different ways that you can come at this green. And I think what I'm going to do is, because the deal is that the rough bump is still a viable shot here. And you're either going to be in your wood or your long iron range. But you could also, depending on if you short shoot, if you got caught up there and you come in, you could start off on the green and try and backspin it on, especially when you get into your wood range. So it gives you some options. You can still do the rough bump with your Guardian, but you also have that option of starting off on the green. Okay, hold on one second. All right, sorry about that. What I was doing was I was writing down some of my numbers for my Guardian, my Saturn, and my backbone. I wanted to get the full range of numbers, not just the max number. I've noticed on some of these holes that we're eking towards mid or we're at minimum club, and I wanted to make sure that I have those numbers written down so I can glance at my notes really quick. So with my Guardian, for instance, it shoots at its 90 accuracy, so that would be, excuse me, 1.2 per ring. So when you figure out when you first start playing, don't worry about any of the rest of it. Just learn how to hit the 1.2. Just learn how to hit the 1.4, the 1.7, or the 1. Because your Guardian will get to 1.7 relatively quickly. And then just learn how to hit those max numbers and learn how to be consistent with that. As you get better at the game and you can start having more comfort with your clubs, then you really want to look at where your club is at, whether it's in mid or max, and knowing those numbers. You can go to Golf Clash Notebook and they've got numbers listed. And everybody's going to have their own take on those numbers, and they're going to have whatever they feel comfortable with. Because I can guarantee you how I hit my Hornet is not the numbers that are in the deal. It's not the numbers that anybody else plays, but I'm very successful with my Hornet. And I have 100% confidence that if I use those numbers and I hit it perfect, it's going to go in the hole. I'm shocked when it doesn't. With my long iron and my wood, I have numbers for those. And the numbers that I use for these are based on, like, when the game first started. Just there was a sheet that was out. Tommy had a friend, the guy that actually came up with the numbers, and they had a sheet, just a piece of paper with some numbers written down and some percentages on there. And I went based off those numbers, and I've been playing that way ever since. And so I'm really comfortable with those numbers. I've tried the numbers at Golf Clash Notebook. When the app was out, I tried those numbers, and I was real honest and tried them hard, and I didn't have the success that I felt that I would have had if I would have just used my normal number, so I went back. But you have to find numbers that you're comfortable with, and just continue to work that as you grow as a player. But on this hole, I'm going to take my Saturn and my Guardian, and I'm going to take a Titan. All right, off we go. And you can play this. You can play this with a quarterback. There's no problem on that. The thing I like about the extra mile is that it gets you into that spot where you absolutely don't have to use any overpower. And anytime I can do any shot here without having to use any overpower, I'm always going to go for that shot because it's more consistent. Now, if there's a huge advantage by going for the overpower, then I'm gonna I'll look at that. I always like to be a couple rings off of any transitional surface, and we definitely don't want all the topspin. So I'm going to eke up just a little bit to the left, and then I can put some curl down here. And so what I'm doing is I'm trying to keep myself away from this transitional edge. So I'm going to do a 3.2. That's about a ring and a half. And I always like to stay pretty close to 2 rings off of any transitional surface. Hitting a grate to the right, which took off about half that curl. And just trying to float out there. Nice and easy. Nothing special, just taking the shot. Right, I like that landing area. I looked at it yesterday to see, because in my practice, my very first practice round yesterday, I was contemplating the max overpower hook shot here, and then it reminded me when I went back and looked at my notes. There is a max overpower hook shot here, but I don't know that we can get it done in Ricky. At least we might be able to get it done if we brought a smaller ball. So the whole deal is you'd want to land in this area here and then get enough roll that you could go through this rough and end up on that other fairway pad. I know, and what happened is that what I was thinking was, an expert, you can do a max overpower hook shot here and end up way up there into your short iron range, and you have a dead serious shot at getting an Albie. But I'm not quite sure we can get it done in Ricky. And if we can, we'd have to bring a smaller ball. Okay, so there's max club. So I'm right at max. And I'm going to do the rough bump here. But just a titch of topspin going straight at the hole. Okay, this club, it's 1.9 per ring. So that leaves me 9. So that's about a ring and a half. I'm going to hit nice and easy. Hitting it perfect. Pretty good look at it. Pretty good look at it right there. And what I like to do is, when I go back and watch these videos, I'll watch myself and I will seriously critique myself on these. I'll look at like how I moved it for the wind adjustment. I'll go, wow, what were you thinking, dude? You did the math wrong in your head. Or I'll look at, if I like that shot right there, I'll go back and watch those other videos. If I hit those shots perfect and I keep ending up in the same area, then I need to make an adjustment. And that's one of the real big benefits. That's why it's so key to hit these shots going into the green perfect, because you can really learn a lot from it. And so if I'm hitting shots perfect and I'm not getting the result that I'm looking for, I'll go back and really look at that hole and see, like, what do I need to do here? What's going wrong? Am I ending up on the same side? Is it taking an irregular bounce, or am I not making a big enough wind adjustment, or do I need to add on 10% or 5% or 15%? And I will continue to work that hole, because if you're continuing to do the same thing and getting the same results over and over, but you're expecting a different result, that's insanity. So the whole deal is, when you're in sports, you want to learn from those things. So if you're not getting the results you're looking for, look at what it is that you're doing, and where's it going wrong? Like, what do I need to do in order to get the result that I'm looking for? Do I need to make a bigger wind adjustment? Do I need to make a less of a wind adjustment? Or do I need to move forward a little? Or what's the deal? My opponent's got a Nirvana, and this is a dead serious shot, but they did an overpull here, and they hit it good, so it'll end up short. The wind ring numbers for sand wedges and rough irons works a little bit different than it does for every other club. And I'll try and remember to pick up that conversation on the next hole. All right, that was hole number 3 of the Fuji Open and Tuesday's qualifying round in the Rookie Division. Thanks for watching.